All right, so we're diving into something pretty wild this time. Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson.
Yeah, it's definitely gotten a lot of attention.
Wild's an understatement, I think. You've got Paul, this YouTuber turned boxer, stepping into the ring with the legendary Mike Tyson.
And Tyson's what, 58 now?
58. It's crazy just thinking about it. But we're going deeper than just the shock value here.
Right. We want to understand what this fight tells us about boxing today, where the sport is headed.
Exactly. And to help us unpack all of that, we've got some insights from Eric Bischoff. He's the guy behind some of wrestling's biggest moments.
Oh, yeah. Bischoff knows how to build a story. He's like our expert decoder for this deep dive.
And one of the things that makes this whole thing even more interesting is that this isn't some exhibition match.
Right. This is a sanctioned fight, professionally recognized.
Real stakes, real records on the line. I mean, think about it. Paul's fought an NBA player, Nate Robinson, some MMA fighters, even Tommy Fury, Tyson's half-brother.
But Tyson, he hasn't been in a professionally sanctioned fight in almost 20 years.
It's almost unheard of.
Which is why this whole sanctioning thing is so crucial. It elevates this from just entertainment to a legitimate athletic competition.
It really makes you wonder what the athletic commissions were thinking approving a fight like this.
Definitely raises some eyebrows. And that's where Bischoff's take on this gets really fascinating.
Yeah, he did an interview with Fox News about the fight. And his perspective is surprising.
So for those who don't know, Bischoff isn't just some random wrestling guy.
Oh no, he's the mastermind behind some of the biggest wrestling storylines in history. The guy knows how to capture an audience, get people talking.
And he's actually intrigued by this Paul-Tyson matchup. He thinks it could be good for boxing.
Which I have to admit threw me off at first. Why would Bischoff, a guy who knows how to create spectacle, think this fight with this age difference and Paul's unconventional background is good for the sport?
It doesn't seem to make sense on the surface.
Right, but he actually makes a pretty compelling argument. He points out that Paul has this massive online following, a lot of younger fans who might not normally watch boxing.
So it could be their entry point into the sport.
Exactly. And then you've got the older fans who remember Tyson in his prime. For them, it's this kind of celebration of boxing history.
A bit of nostalgia mixed with this totally new kind of energy.
Bischoff even went as far as to praise the promotion of the fight. He said they've done a great job.
High praise coming from him. He knows a thing or two about building hype.
So let's break down why this hype is working so well. It seems like they're playing on that classic David versus Goliath narrative.
Oh, absolutely. You've got Paul, the young upstart, challenging Tyson, this titan of boxing.
And even though Tyson's past his prime, it still raises that question of legitimacy.
Can Paul actually hang with Tyson? Even a 58-year-old Tyson, it's a question that everyone's asking.
It's like they've tapped into something primal.
Yeah.
And then you add in that generational clash we talked about.
Makes it much more than just a boxing match.
Exactly. It becomes this conversation about legacy, about the changing landscape of sports, about how entertainment plays into it all.
It's fascinating to see it all play out, and there's another layer to this, too.
Oh, yeah. This isn't just about Paul versus Tyson. The undercard for this fight is stacked.
Seriously. It's like they're saying, come for the spectacle, stay for the sport.
We've got Katie Taylor going up against Amanda Serrano for the undisputed super lightweight title in women's boxing. And then on the men's side, you've got Mario Barrios versus Abel Ramos for the WBC welterweight title.
Those are fights that are going to draw serious attention from boxing fans.
It's a smart strategy. They're showcasing this diverse talent, maybe even grooming future stars, all while riding the wave of this Paul Tyson hype.
So they're appealing to the casual fans and the diehards all at the same time.
But you know, at the end of the day, we have to address the elephant in the room. Can this fight actually live up to the hype in the ring?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Will it be a good fight or will it be all smoke and mirrors?
I mean, both guys have something to prove here.
Yeah.
Paul wants to silence those critics who say he's not a real boxer.
And Tyson, even at his age, probably wants to show that he's still got it, that he can still be a force to be reckoned with.
It's almost like a Shakespearean drama.
Two fighters at totally different points in their careers, both driven by this need to prove themselves.
And that's what makes Bischoff's take even more intriguing. Remember, he's not just acknowledging the entertainment value. He seems to genuinely believe that this fight could push boxing forward.
I'm curious about that. How could a fight between a 27-year-old social media star and a 58-year-old boxing icon possibly benefit the entire sport?
It seems counterintuitive.
It does, but Bischoff's argument is that it could spark a much-needed conversation about where boxing is going. It's pushing boundaries, challenging the norms, forcing everyone to reconsider what a legitimate boxing match looks like these days.
So it's like a disruption,
Yeah.
a shakeup of the establishment.
Exactly. And sometimes those disruptions can lead to innovation. They can force things to evolve.
So regardless of who wins this fight, could end up being a catalyst for change.
It's bringing in new fans, generating new revenue, and igniting these debates about the future of boxing.
And that's what makes it so much more than just a spectacle. It's a potential turning point. Okay, let's shift gears for a moment and delve into that impressive undercard. We already mentioned Katie Taylor versus Amanda Serrano, and this is a rematch, right?
It is. They fought last year, and it was considered one of the best women's boxing matches of all time. A back-and-forth battle that went the distance, and now they're back for round 2 with even more at stake.
And we can't forget about Mario Barrios and Abel Ramos, two top contenders in the welterweight division, both hungry to prove themselves and earn a shot at the title.
You've got these established stars, these rising contenders, all on one card. It speaks to the depth and diversity that boxing has to offer.
And it all circles back to that bigger strategy we were talking about. Attracting a diverse audience, showcasing the best of what boxing has to offer, and using the Paul Tyson hype to elevate the entire sport.
It's a calculated risk, for sure, but one that could have massive payoffs for the future of boxing. But, let's be real, the big question on everyone's mind is, will the fight itself be any good?
Right? There's a chance this could be a total dud. Tyson is way past his prime, and while Paul has shown some skill, he's never faced anyone close to Tyson's caliber.
There's definitely that risk. But there's also the potential for something truly special. Maybe Tyson finds that old magic. Maybe Paul rises to the occasion and shocks the world. Maybe we get a fight for the ages that redefines the sport and cements both of their legacies.
Or maybe it's somewhere in between. A decent fight, a few good moments, but ultimately not the revolution some are predicting.
The beauty of it is we just don't know. And that's what makes it so compelling. We're all holding our breath, waiting to see how it all plays out.
It's like that feeling right before the opening bell, when the tension is so thick you could cut it with a knife and anything feels possible.
That's the essence of a great sporting event, isn't it? That anticipation, the uncertainty. So before we go any further, I want to hear from you, the listener. What are your thoughts? Are you excited for this fight? Do you think it will be good for boxing?
We've laid out the arguments, explored the possibilities. Now it's your turn to weigh in. What are your predictions? Are you Team Paul or Team Tyson?
Because at the end of the day, this is what makes this whole thing so fascinating. It's a conversation, a debate, a shared experience that goes beyond the ring itself.
And that's exactly what we're going to explore in the final part of our deep dive. We'll be back to discuss the cultural significance of this fight and what it might mean for the future of entertainment.
It's true. And that undercard, it's carefully put together, to appeal to both those casual fans who are drawn in by the Paul Tyson spectacle,
Yeah.
but also those hardcore boxing enthusiasts.
It's like they're trying to say, hey, come for the hype, but stay for the real deal, the sport itself.
Exactly.
And they've got some big names on there, too.
Yeah.
Like in women's boxing, we've got Katie Taylor facing Amanda Serrano for the undisputed super lightweight title.
Oh, it's a huge one.
Huge. And then in the men's division, we've got Mario Barrios going up against Abel Ramos for the WBC welterweight title.
Those are fights that'll definitely get the boxing purists excited.
No doubt about it. It's a brilliant strategy when you think about it. They're showcasing this incredible talent, potentially even setting the stage for future stars.
Right. It's like they're using the Paul Tyson hype as a springboard to elevate the entire sport.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But let's be real here for a second. Can this fight actually live up to the hype? Once they're in the ring, will it actually deliver?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? I mean, is it going to be an exciting fight, or will it be a letdown?
I mean, both guys have a lot to prove here. Paul wants to prove he's not just some YouTube sensation that he can actually dox.
Yeah, he wants to show he can compete at this level.
And Tyson, even at his age, I bet he wants to show the world he's still got it.
That he's still a force to be reckoned with.
Yeah, there's definitely some pride on the line for him.
It's like a story straight out of a movie.
Right. Two fighters, completely different stages of their careers, both with this burning desire to prove something.
And that's what makes Bischoff's take on this even more interesting. Because remember, he's not just saying this fight is entertaining. He seems to genuinely believe that it could be beneficial for boxing as a whole.
I'm still wrapping my head around that. How could a fight between a 27-year-old social media star and a 58-year-old boxing legend actually benefit the sport?
It's a good question. But Bischoff argues that it could start a conversation, a much-needed one, about the direction boxing is headed.
So it's like a disruption.
Yeah, it's pushing boundaries, challenging the norms, making everyone reconsider what a legitimate boxing match looks like in this day and age.
Okay, so it forces the sport to evolve.
And that's where the potential lies. It doesn't matter who wins this fight, could end up being a catalyst for change for boxing.
It could reshape the landscape.
Exactly. It's bringing in new fans, generating new revenue, and most importantly, sparking these crucial debates about the future of the sport.
And that's what makes this whole thing more than just a spectacle. It's a potential turning point for boxing.
I like that. A
Yep.
potential turning point.
All right, let's zoom in on that undercard for a minute.
Mm.
We talked about Katie Taylor and Amanda Serrano, and this is actually a rematch, isn't it?
Yeah, they fought last year, and it was an instant classic. Went the full distance, back and forth action.
Wow.
One of the best women's boxing matches of all time. And now they're running it back with even more on the line.
I can't wait for that one. And then you've got Mario Barrios and Eber Ramos,
Two guys at the top of their game.
both hungry for that title shot.
This undercard, it's a statement. You know, they're showcasing the depth, the talent, the diversity that exists in boxing.
And it all comes back to that strategy we were talking about. Bringing in a diverse audience, showcasing the best that boxing has to offer, and ultimately using this Paul Tyson spectacle to raise the profile of the entire sport.
It's a gamble for sure, but it's one that could pay off big time for boxing. But you know what? At the end of the day, the big question that's on everyone's mind is, will the main event actually deliver?
Right. Will it be a good fight?
There's a chance it could be a dud.
There is. I mean, Tyson's way past his prime.
And Paul, while he's shown promise, he's never been in the ring with someone like Tyson.
So there's that risk. But then again, there's also that possibility that we witness something truly special.
Maybe Tyson taps into that old magic one last time. Or maybe Paul shocks the world and pulls off an upset.
Imagine if we get a fight for the ages. Something that completely redefines the sport and cements both of their legacies.
That would be incredible.
Or maybe it's somewhere in between. You know, a decent fight with a few exciting moments, but not quite the revolution that some people are predicting.
The truth is, we just don't know. And that's the beauty of it. All we can do is wait and see how it unfolds.
It's like that feeling right before a big game.
The anticipation, the uncertainty. You can cut the tension with a knife.
Absolutely. And that's what makes sporting events so captivating.
So before we wrap this up, I want to hear from you, the listener. What are you thinking about all of this? Are you excited for this fight? Do you think it'll be good for boxing?
We've gone through the arguments,
Yeah.
the possibilities. Now it's your turn to weigh in. What are your predictions?
Team Paul or Team Tyson?
Let us know.
Because ultimately, that's what makes this so fascinating. It's a conversation. It's a debate. It's a shared experience that extends far beyond the boxing ring.
And that's exactly what we're going to dig into in the final part of our deep dive. We'll be back to talk about the bigger picture, the cultural significance of this fight, and what it might mean for the future of entertainment. All right, so we're back for the final round of our deep dive into this whole Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson thing.
Yeah, it's time to step out of the boxing ring and really look at the bigger picture.
Because this fight, it's more than just a sporting event, when you say.
Oh, absolutely. It's like this collision of entertainment, social media, celebrity culture all rolled into one.
You've got Paul, this guy who built his fame on YouTube, and now he's using that platform to launch a boxing career.
And then you've got Tyson, this legend who's had this wild life full of highs and lows, and now he's kind of embracing this whole new wave of entertainment.
It's almost like a clash of two different worlds, two different paths to success.
Two different eras of media.
Exactly. And I think that clash really highlights how much things are changing, how the lines between traditional media and the digital world are getting blurred.
It's happening everywhere, not just in boxing.
Yeah, you see it in other sports too, with those influencer boxing matches, those celebrity exhibition games.
It's this trend that's both exciting and a little bit unsettling. You know, it makes you question what's real, what's authentic, and what role entertainment should play in all of this.
But you can't deny the appeal. The audiences are huge, the revenue is massive, and these events are sparking conversations that we wouldn't be having otherwise.
So is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing? It's probably a bit of both, to be honest.
That's what's so interesting about this whole thing. There's no easy answer. It's complex. It's multifaceted.
Yeah. It challenges us to think critically about how we consume entertainment, about what we consider to be athletic achievement, about how we navigate this constantly evolving media landscape.
Maybe that's the real value here.
The conversation, the debate, the chance to really examine what's happening around us.
So as you watch this fight, Think about what it means to you. Think about the bigger picture.
Because this is a reflection of our culture, our values, our choices in this ever-changing world.
We hope this deep dive has given you some food for thought as you process this fight and everything that surrounds it.
It's a unique moment in sports and entertainment history.
And now we'll leave you with one final question. What does the future hold for boxing?
Will this be a turning point, a catalyst for positive change, or a sign of a sport in decline?
Only time will tell. But one thing's for sure, this conversation is just getting started.
Thanks for joining us.
And we'll see you next time.